never let it be said that we don't keep an eye over on Fox News for some bonkers stuff in order to show you. This one particularly caught my eye. Jesse Kelly, a conservative commentator appearing on Tucker Carlson's show to describe some of his problems with the U.S. military. Let's take a listen.
Well, what we're watching is the destruction of the U.S. military, and what we're going to end up seeing, Tucker, is thousands, tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of Americans die. Those are the stakes of the game we're playing here. We don't need a military that's woman-friendly. We don't need a military that's gay-friendly, with all due respect to the Air Force. We need a military that's flat-out hostile. We need a military full of Type A men who want to sit on a throne of Chinese skulls. But we don't have that now. We can't even get women off of naval vessels. That should be step one, but most of them are already pregnant anyway.
Throne of Chinese skulls. Look, I mean, I've been accused of being some warmonger or whatever. That's what it actually looks like, just by the way. Speaking this way is incredibly irresponsible. I probably even agree with Jesse that wokeness in the U.S. military is a huge problem, and that social justice and all this stuff at the expense of a warfighting force that is actually capable of winning a war is actually terrible, detrimental, and more. But speaking this way shows a real bloodthirst, which I personally find disgusting. Nobody should wish war upon anyone, because, by the way, to construct a throne of Chinese skulls would also require a lot of American skulls too, as you can see in any conflict where the U.S. has ever been engaged in. I don't think anybody should be pushing this type of rhetoric, and actually, in my opinion, it only makes social justice and stuff more likely by behaving like such an idiot on national television that they can point to and say, see, these are the people who are opposing this. So there's a lot to be said around that, and I actually do think it is important to be very responsible in terms of speaking around the way that we should have a military, to what purpose, and more. So look, I know Jesse himself served, so I guess he has a right to say whatever he wants, maybe even more so than me. But I found this personally a very gross segment.
Thirsting for Chinese skulls
I think it's very, very disgusting.
Not only blood, right. I mean, that's like outright genocidal. It's disgusting to want. And to your point, listen, even if you don't give a shit about the Chinese citizens who would suffer and die in that conflict, which you 1,000,000% should, how many of our soldiers died in the unnecessary wars in the Middle East? How many of them were injured? How many of their lives were turned upside down?
Yeah.
How many are struggling with suicide and depression because of the things that they had to do, the things that they saw, the things that they had to, experience? So this casual desire for war with China, it really is a kind of mask-off moment. One of the things that I hate the most about the current right, one of them is, just the total fealty to Trump, and the only litmus test that really matters is how absurd you're willing to debase yourself around Stop the Steal. The other one is how they just throw out the term woke with regards to absolutely everything without actually justifying it. Listen, I am, considered anti-woke. I think the fact that oftentimes these sort of identitarian, hollow identity politics are used to be like, isn't the CIA amazing? Or isn't the military-industrial complex amazing? Effectively the meme of the plane dropping bombs, but you put the rainbow flag on it, you're like, oh, and a woman's a pilot, that's great. So I have my issues with wokeness, and especially the sort of off-putting academic language that is really counterproductive to actually building some sort of multiracial working class progressive project. But it gets thrown around as an excuse for absolutely everything, again, with no justification. So they said that the Build Back Better bill, their problem with it was woke. It's like, what? I mean, and it doesn't even have to be analyzed or, laid out the arguments that they make. So it also irritates me, this whole there are a lot of critiques you can make of the military. And if there is a specific social justice thing that you think is distracting, they're dig into that, that's fine. We can have that conversation. But it's just thrown around in such a blanket way as to become utterly meaningless.
Yeah, no, that's actually also a good point. It is meaningless. If this is what the modern right is, count me out. Count me out, brothers.
You're not down for the throne of
Chinese skulls. I just want us actually to live in general peace. Also maintain some of our prosperity and integrity here at home. That's a whole other conversation. This type of stuff doesn't help anybody, and I do think it's important, because if that is the type of stuff that gets mainstreamed to a lot of people, Not good.
Yeah,
that's what justified the war on terror for a long time.
That's
which I would
very
remind
true.
Jesse and a lot of other people on the right, the rhetoric spins around real quick, doesn't it? Whenever it starts to get targeted on you post January 6th. So, try and at least speak from a point of principle and make it so that in the future, this type of stuff won't come against you because, 2005, it was real easy to go on and beat your chest about jihad, and now what, right?
Yeah.
It's all been turned against you.
That's a very good point.
Right.
Very good point.
Okay.
All right, guys, thanks for watching. We'll have more for you later. Hey, guys, thanks so much for watching.
That's right. Just as a reminder, you can become a premium subscriber today. Watch the full show completely uncut, our reactions to each other's monologues. You get to listen to it. You get to ask us questions, all that good stuff. Link is right there in the description or at breakingpoints.com.
Best of all, great way to say screw you to the mainstream media.